All right, in today's video, we're going to talk about the Module 5 study guide. We're going to go through all 9 questions so that you are prepared for the test. All right, we're going to graph the solution set of 4 multiplied by z minus 1, which is less than negative 1, or 4 times z plus 1 is less than negative 16. So the first thing we need to do is distribute this coefficient. So we are going to multiply 4 times z and get 4z. And 4 times negative 1, so we get negative 4 is less than negative 1. Next, we need to solve for the variable, and we're going to do that by adding or subtracting our constant first. So we're going to add 4 to both sides of our inequality, and we get 4z is less than 3. Then our next step is to divide or sometimes multiply, but in this case, we're going to divide by a positive 4 on both sides. So z is less than 3/4 or 0.75. So we can go ahead and graph that on our number line. We're going to estimate our 3/4 or 0.75 to be about right here. And our inequality says that z is less than that, so we are going to the left. Then we have to solve our other inequality. 4 multiplied by z plus 1 is less than negative 16. So 4 times z is 4z. 4 times positive 1 is a positive 4, and that's going to be less than negative 16. Again, I need to solve for the variable, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. I get 4z is less than negative 20, and then I divide by 4, and so z is less than negative 5. Here we have z is less than negative 5, and we notice that we have overlapping happening here. And when we have overlapping happening, it's going to look a little bit different on our graph because they're just going to show you the greatest amount. So here is our 3/4 or 0.75, and it's going to the left. Okay, because less than negative 5 is included in less than 3/4. All right. Question 2, we're going to write the inequality represented in the graph below. So we're going to start by finding our y-intercept, which is located right here on our graph. So our b is equal to 1. Then we need to find our slope. And so we're going to use this point here, which is 1, 2. And from our y-intercept, we went up 1 and over 1. So our slope is 1. So we so far have 1x plus 1. We have a dashed line here. So we know that we're going to have a less than or greater than symbol without the equal sign. And we are shaded below the line. So we know that it's going to be a less than symbol. So we end up with y is less than 1x plus 1. If we want to test to see if this is true, we can use our test point, which is 0, 0. So we plug in 0 for our y and 0 for our x. And when we do that, we notice that 0 is in fact less than 1. So we did shade the correct side and write the correct equation. All right. Next, we're going to solve the inequality negative 5x minus 1 is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 20. So we're going to move all of our variables because we have variables on both sides, we're going to move our variables over to the left and we're going to move our constants over to the right. So to do that, I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I get negative 3x minus 1 is less than or equal to 20. Then I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And I get negative 3x is less than or equal to 21. And then my last step will be to divide by this negative 3. And when I divide by a negative, this sign is going to flip. So where it was a less than, now it's going to be x is greater than or equal to negative 7. Okay, question 4 is very similar to question 3. So the first thing, again, we're going to do is we're going to move this variable here to the left. So we're going to subtract 9y from both sides. And we get negative 2y minus 4 is less than or equal to 12. Then we're going to add 4 to both sides. So we get negative 2y is less than or equal to 16. Then we're going to divide by a negative. Again, when we divide by a negative, we are going to flip the sign. So before it was a less than or equal to symbol, now it's a greater than or equal to symbol. So y is greater than or equal to -8. So our solution set would be written as y such that y is greater than or equal to -8. Now moving on to question 5. Again, we need to graph the solution set of this equation. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 3 from both sides because we need to get that variable by itself. So we get -4x is less than 20. And here we are again dividing by a negative number. And when we divide by a negative number, we are going to flip the sign. So it was a less than symbol, and now it's a greater than symbol. So x is greater than -5. So this would be the graph that matches. Be careful when you're matching your graph that you flip your sign if you divide or multiply by a negative number. Okay, question 6, we need to solve the compound inequality. So 6 is less than 2x minus 4, and 2x minus 4 is less than 16. This is an and compound inequality. So we're treating this essentially as it's two equations. So we're going to do the process, but we're going to do the process all at once. So we need to get that variable x by itself. So we're going to add 4 to all parts of the equation. So when we add 4, this will cancel out here in the middle, and 6 plus 4 is 10, and 16 plus 4 is 20. Now I have 2x, so I still need to get that x by itself. So I'm going to divide by 2. And when I divide by 2, I get 5 is less than x, which is less than 10. Now remember when we watched that video and when we talked about it in class, if we have an and inequality, and if it's written in the correct order from least number to the greatest number, both of your symbols should always be less than. So we have 5 less than x, and x is less than 10. All right, moving on to question 7. Kayla works at a flower shop. Flowers come in small and large bouquets. Large bouquets are 12 flowers. Okay, large bouquets are 12 flowers and small bouquets are 6 flowers. There are currently 96 flowers in the flower shop. Write the inequality that represents the number of large and small bouquets Kayla can make, where x is the number of large bouquets and y is the number of small bouquets. So if large bouquets there is 12, so 12x, and small bouquets there are 6, so 6y. And the minimum, we know that this is the minimum because 96 is you can't make any more bouquets than what you would have for flowers of 96 because they don't have more than that in the shop. Okay, so we end up with 12x plus 6y is less than or equal to 96. So you'll notice I think the sign flipped, but this is actually the way that it makes sense. The minimum here is because you can't make any more bouquets than 96. So the symbol should actually be less than or equal to. All right, just ignore that one right there. Sorry. And finally, moving on to question 8. A coffee shop requires that Stephanie spend at least $7 if she wants to use a debit card for her purchase. Coffee costs $2.25 each. She wants to buy one cake pop that costs $1.25. If X represents the number of coffees Stephanie would need to buy, which inequality will model the situation? Okay, she wants to spend at least $7. We have the cost of the coffee and we have the cost of the cake pop. So our y-intercept, our cake pop, is our fixed cost because she's only buying one. The coffee costs $2.25. So our written equation, because the coffee is what's changing, is y is less than or equal to 2.25x plus 1.25. In this particular case, she has to spend at least the $7. So she's going to spend at least $7. The equation would be 7 is less than or equal to 2.25x plus 1.25. And you actually don't even need to solve it, even though we've gone ahead and done that for you. That means that she would need to buy at least 2.55 coffees. So she would have to buy at least 3 coffees in order to meet her minimum. All right, question 9. Graph the inequality y is greater than or equal to 1/4 x plus 1. All right, we're going to start here with our y-intercept, and then we're going to move our slope. So in this particular question on the test, you're going to have to match this equation to the graphs that are provided. So first match your y-intercepts and eliminate the ones that don't have the same y-intercept, and then match your slope, and then look at your solid or dotted lines. Okay, so here our b is 1, our slope is 1/4. We went up 1 and over 4. And so that was our slope. And then we had to decide if we were going to shade above or below the line. Y here is greater than or equal to. So I should be shading above, but we can use our test point to make sure. Our test point is 0, 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 1? No, it is not. So we do not shade this area. We need to shade the area above it. All right, that's it for the test. Please make sure to use this. I want to know what was going to help you remember, what you need to remember to be successful on the test, things that trip you up, things that confuse you, so that I can address those in class tomorrow. All right, have a good day.